The massive alien ships hung in space like dark mountains against the stars. Their hulls gleamed with strange metals that seemed to bend light around them. Each vessel was larger than Earth's biggest cities, and there were hundreds of them floating at the edge of the solar system. Admiral Hyun-woo Kim stood in the war room deep beneath Seoul, watching the screens that showed the alien fleet. His uniform was crisp, and his face was calm, but everyone around him could feel the weight of the moment. This was first contact, but not the kind humanity had dreamed about. "Sir, we're getting a transmission," said Lieutenant Bo-Ram Jeon from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. "It's coming through on all frequencies at once." "Put it on the main screen," Admiral Kim said. The screen flickered, and then showed something that made everyone in the room step back. The alien that appeared was tall and thin, with skin like polished stone and eyes that glowed with cold blue light. When it spoke, the words came out in perfect English, though its mouth barely moved. "I am Ambassador Veltar of the Galactic Council Hegemony," the creature said. Its voice was like ice breaking. "You are the species that calls itself human. You have spread beyond your birth world without permission. You have entered protected space. You have violated the ancient laws that keep peace in this galaxy." Dr. So-Young Park, Earth's lead scientist for alien studies, moved closer to the screen. She had spent years preparing for this moment, but nothing had prepared her for the cold hatred in the alien's glowing eyes. "The Galactic Council has ruled on your fate," Ambassador Veltar continued. "You will surrender all your colonies. You will return to your birth world. You will submit to Council authority. You have 72 hours to comply." General Dong-hyun Lee stepped forward. "And if we refuse?" The alien's mouth curved into something that might have been a smile, but there was no warmth in it. "Then your species will be removed from existence. Your cities will burn. Your oceans will boil. Nothing will remain of the mistake that is humanity." The room fell silent. Outside, Admiral Kim knew that similar messages were being broadcast to every human settlement across the galaxy. Mars Colony, the mining stations around Jupiter, the research outposts in the Alpha Centauri system, all of them were hearing the same words. "You have advanced weapons," General Lee said. "But so do we." Ambassador Veltar made a sound that might have been laughter. "Your weapons are toys. Your ships are made of metal and dreams. The Council has destroyed 1,000 species before you. Each one thought they were special. Each one was wrong." Dr. Park stepped closer to Admiral Kim. "Sir, I'm reading massive energy signatures from their fleet. Whatever technology they're using, it's far beyond anything we have." The alien seemed to hear her words. "Dr. So-Young Park of the Seoul Institute. Yes, we know who you are. We know, all of you. We have been watching your species for decades. We know your strengths and your weaknesses. We know that you feel fear." Admiral Kim had been listening quietly, but now he stepped forward. The alien's glowing eyes fixed on him, and for a moment, the temperature in the room seemed to drop. "Admiral Hyun-woo Kim," the alien said. "Leader of Earth's military forces, the Council has studied your career. You are skilled for a primitive species, but skill will not save you." "I see," Admiral Kim said calmly. "And this offer of surrender, what exactly would that mean for humanity?" "You would become servants of the Council. Your strongest would work in our mines. Your smartest would serve our scientists. Your children would be raised to serve the galaxy's true rulers. It is more mercy than your species deserves." The room was so quiet that everyone could hear their own heartbeats. On the screens around them, data flowed showing the alien fleets, positions, their energy readings, their weapon systems. Everything confirmed what Dr. Park had said. This was technology beyond human understanding. "I have a question," Admiral Kim said. "Speak quickly. The Council's patience is not infinite. How many species have accepted this generous offer of slavery?" The alien's eyes seemed to burn brighter. "All who were wise enough to see the truth. Those who refused exist only in our historical records." Admiral Kim nodded slowly. "I see. And in all these years, has any species ever surprised you?" "Surprise is for primitives who do not understand the universe. The Council has mapped every possible outcome. We know what you will do before you do it." "Fascinating," Admiral Kim said. Then he did something that no one in the room expected. He smiled. It was not a big smile, just a small curve of his lips. But in that moment, with alien warships hanging over Earth like the sword of an ancient god, with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, Admiral Hyun-woo Kim smiled like he had just heard the best joke of his life. The alien stared at him. "You find something amusing about your species' extinction?" "Oh, I'm not amused," Admiral Kim said, still smiling. "I'm just thinking about something my grandfather used to say." "And what was that?" "He used to say that the most dangerous moment for your enemy is when you think you know everything about them." Ambassador Veltar's glowing eyes narrowed. "You speak in riddles. Your 72 hours begin now. Use them wisely, Admiral. Say goodbye to your world. Prepare your people for what comes next." "We'll get back to you," Admiral Kim said simply. The transmission ended. The screen went dark. For a moment, no one in the room moved. Then Dr. Park spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "Sir, what did you mean about your grandfather?" Admiral Kim turned away from the screen. His smile was gone now, replaced by the focused look that his officers knew well. It was the look he got when he was planning something that no one else could see coming. "Get me Captain Miran's song," he said to Lieutenant John. "Tell her it's time." "Time for what, sir?" General Lee asked. Admiral Kim walked toward the door, then stopped and looked back at his officers. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, but filled with something that might have been anticipation. "Time to show the galaxy that humans don't just surprise their enemies," he said. "We terrify them." As he left the room, Dr. Park and General Lee exchanged glances. Neither of them understood what the Admiral meant, but they both felt the same thing: hope. It was a strange feeling to have when facing extinction, but Admiral Kim had always been good at impossible things. Above them, the alien fleet waited in the darkness between stars. Ambassador Veltar was already composing his report to the Council, describing humanity's predictable fear and confusion. He would recommend the standard bombardment schedule: major cities first, then military installations, then anything else that moved. It would be efficient and final, just like it had been with all the others. But deep in the Seoul Command Center, orders were being sent to people whose names did not appear on any official roster. Messages flashed to locations that existed only in quantum space and in hidden facilities around the solar system. Things that had been waiting for 3 years began to wake up. The countdown had begun, but not the one the aliens expected. Captain Miran's song received Admiral Kim's message while floating in the pilot seat of her ship, 300 kilometers above Earth's surface. Her vessel looked like nothing special from the outside, just another patrol craft doing routine orbital sweeps. But looks could be very deceiving. "Phoenix Control, this is Ghost Leader," she said into her headset. "Confirming activation order received. "Copy that, Ghost Leader," came the reply from Dr. Jin-Ho Choi. His voice carried across space from a hidden facility on the far side of the moon. "Beginning quantum cascade initialization. All ghost ships prepare for phase transition." Miran touched a series of controls that most pilots had never seen before. Around her ship, the air itself seemed to shimmer and bend. Reality twisted for just a moment, and then her craft simply vanished from all sensors, radars, and visual tracking systems. She was still there, still flying through space, but now she existed in a different quantum state. To the rest of the universe, Ghost Leader had simply stopped existing. "Beautiful," she whispered to herself. Even after 3 years of training, the quantum shift still amazed her. Dr. Jin-Ho Choi watched his screens from the lunar facility that officially did not exist. 3 years ago, when humanity first encountered the Galactic Council during a small border incident, most people thought it was just first contact. But Jin-Ho had seen something else. While examining captured alien technology, he discovered that every single council species had the same limitation built into their evolution. They could perceive normal matter and energy perfectly. They could detect heat, radiation, electromagnetic fields, and even exotic particles. But quantum state objects, things that existed in superposition between realities, to them, such things were completely invisible. It was like discovering that every dangerous animal in the forest was colorblind to one specific shade. And humanity, it turned out, could see that color just fine. Dr. Choi, his assistant Tai Min Yang, said from the engineering station, "All 47 ghost ships report successful phase transition. They're invisible to everything except our quantum sensors." Jin-Ho nodded. For 3 years, Earth had been building these ships in secret. Not just building them, but designing them from the ground up to exist in quantum superposition. Each vessel could phase in and out of normal reality at will. When phased out, they were completely undetectable to alien technology. "What's the status on the infiltration teams?" Jin-Ho asked. Tai Min checked his readings. "Team 1 is already aboard the lead council ship. Team 2 is approaching the command vessel. Engineer Yang's quantum tunneling system is working perfectly." That Engineer Yang was Taemin's older brother, currently materializing inside the alien flagship using technology that the Council's sensors couldn't even comprehend. While the aliens debated humanity's fate, a human engineer was walking through their walls and studying their systems from the inside. Back on Earth, Admiral Kim stood in a different command center now. This one was buried even deeper than the war room, behind doors that required quantum-encrypted access codes. Only a handful of people even knew it existed. "Sir," said Dr. Woo-Sung Lim from his position at the central console, "we're receiving data from the infiltration teams. The alien fleet structure is exactly what we predicted." Woo-Sung had spent the last 3 years working on humanity's most secret project. While the world above prepared conventional defenses, he had been developing weapons that worked on principles the aliens couldn't detect. Quantum cascade bombs that could phase shift matter at the subatomic level. Reality distortion fields that could make entire star systems temporarily disappear. "Their shields are impressive," Woo-Sung continued, reading the incoming data, "but they're designed to stop normal matter and energy. Against quantum phase attacks, they might as well be made of paper." Admiral Kim studied the tactical display. "How long until all teams are in position?" 6 hours, sir. Lieutenant Bo-Ram Jeon's Marine unit will be the last to reach their target." Bo-Ram was currently riding inside a transport that existed in 17 different quantum states simultaneously. To outside observers, nothing was there. But Bo-Ram and her team of quantum marines were very real and very dangerous. Each marine carried weapons that could phase through any armor the aliens had ever developed. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. While the Council focused on humanity's obvious preparations, the fleets gathering around Earth, the defense stations powering up the emergency broadcasts. The real response was happening in quantum space, completely invisible to alien detection. Dr. Choi reports all ghost ships are in position, said Intelligence Director Soo-Jin Kang as she entered the command center. She looked tired but excited. For 3 years, she had been coordinating the most complex deception in human history. The Council thinks they're facing a primitive species with metal ships and chemical rockets, Soo-Jin continued. They have no idea we've learned to bend reality itself. Dr. Yejin Ro looked up from her monitoring station. She was tracking quantum signatures across the solar system, watching as humanity's hidden fleet moved into attack positions. The aliens are maintaining formation exactly as predicted. They're so confident that they're not even deploying full defensive measures. Admiral Kim allowed himself a small smile. Pride comes before the fall. How are our quantum mines performing? Perfectly, sir, Yejin replied. We've planted over 2,000 throughout their fleet formation. They're all in quantum superposition, completely undetectable. When we activate them, the Council won't know what hit them. The quantum mines were perhaps humanity's most devious creation. Each one was a small device that existed in a state between realities. They could pass through any shield, any armor, any defense system. And when activated, they would destabilize the quantum structure of anything nearby, causing matter to simply cease existing in any meaningful way. Sir, Dr. Lim called. Out. We're getting reports from Captain Song. The Ghost Fleet has visual confirmation on all major Council vessels. They're requesting permission to begin targeting solutions. Not yet, Admiral Kim said. Let the aliens think they're in control for a little longer. Above Earth, the Council fleet hung in space like sleeping giants. Ambassador Veltar stood on the bridge of the flagship, studying reports about human activities. Everything was proceeding exactly as the Council's war computers had predicted. The humans were panicking, their leaders were arguing, and their military was making desperate preparations that would accomplish nothing. War Master Kethvar, Veltar said to the massive alien beside him. The humans are behaving precisely as expected. Fear, confusion, futile resistance preparations. Kethvar was twice the size of Veltar, with armor-like skin and 4 arms that ended in claws. He commanded the Council's military forces, and he had overseen the destruction of hundreds of species. They always do, he rumbled. First they deny, then they bargain, then they beg. In the end, they all burn the same. Neither alien noticed the human figure moving silently through the walls behind them. Engineer Yang had been studying the ship's systems for hours, mapping every critical system, every weakness, every point of failure. The aliens' technology was impressive, but it was designed to fight enemies they could detect. Yang smiled as he placed a small quantum device near the ship's main power core. When the time came, this ship, and every other Council vessel, would find that their most advanced systems simply stopped working. Not damaged, not destroyed, just stopped. Back in the hidden command center, Admiral Kim received a message that made him nod with satisfaction. All infiltration teams report mission success, Dr. Choi announced. Every major Council vessel has been compromised. Our people are in position. Excellent, Admiral Kim said. Now we wait for the aliens to make their move. Sir, Intelligence Director Kang asked. "What if they detect our preparations somehow?" Admiral Kim looked at the displays showing the alien fleet, still hanging confidently in space, completely unaware that they were surrounded by weapons they couldn't see and infiltrated by enemies they couldn't detect. "They won't," he said quietly, "because they're making the same mistake that every bully makes. They think that being bigger and stronger means being smarter. They think that having better technology means understanding the universe better." He paused, watching as more reports came in from the Ghost Fleet and the infiltration teams. They're about to learn that humans didn't become the dominant species on Earth by being the biggest or the strongest, Admiral Kim continued. "We became dominant because we learned to think in ways that our enemies never expected." The countdown continued, but now humanity was counting down to something very different than surrender. The news broadcasts from Earth painted a picture of complete chaos. People ran through the streets of major cities, carrying whatever belongings they could manage. Government officials appeared on screens with sweating faces and shaking voices, announcing emergency protocols and evacuation procedures. Military units could be seen retreating from forward positions, their equipment appearing abandoned and their soldiers looking defeated. On Luna City, the main civilian colony on the moon, Mayor Ha Nul-shin stood before cameras with tears in his eyes. "We have received no word from Earth Command about any possible defense," he said, his voice breaking. "We are preparing our children for whatever comes next." It was a masterpiece of theater, directed by Intelligence Director Soo-Jin Kang from her hidden command center. Every panicked broadcast, every frightened official, every apparent sign of humanity's collapse was carefully planned and perfectly executed. The aliens were watching everything, just as Soo-Jin had known they would. Emotional response patterns are exactly as predicted, Ambassador Veltar reported to the Council from his flagship. The humans are displaying classic pre-surrender behavior: fear, disorganization, leadership failure. War Master Kethvar studied the intercepted human communications on his tactical display. Their military is pulling back from all forward positions. Their fleet is scattering. Some of their colonies are already broadcasting surrender requests. Neither alien realized that the retreating military units were actually moving into carefully prepared positions. The scattered fleet was taking up optimal attack formations, and the surrender requests were being sent by actors who had never even seen space. In the real command center, Dr. Woo Sung Lim monitored the deception from his quantum-shielded facility. The aliens were intercepting human communications exactly as planned, but they could only see what humanity wanted them to see. Every message, every broadcast, every apparent panic response was designed to make the Council confident and careless. "Phase 1 deception is holding perfectly," Soo-Jin reported to Admiral Kim. "The aliens believe they're seeing genuine human terror and confusion. They're not even trying to penetrate our communications deeply." Admiral Kim nodded. "Overconfidence is a wonderful thing in an enemy. What's the status on our real preparations?" Dr. Yuna Kim, no relation to the Admiral despite sharing a name, looked up from her quantum physics station. "All Cascade Bomb components are in final assembly. The quantum resonance field generators are charged and ready. We can phase shift the entire solar system if necessary." Yuna had been working on humanity's ultimate weapon, a device that could temporarily move Earth itself into quantum superposition. If the plan failed, humanity could simply vanish from normal reality until they figured out a better approach. It was the ultimate backup plan, and the aliens had no idea it was even possible. "Ghost Fleet status?" Admiral Kim asked. Captain Miran Song's voice came through the quantum communications system. All 47 ships maintaining phase shift. We're positioned throughout the alien formation. They still can't detect us. Miran was currently floating her invisible ship just 50 meters from the alien flagship's hull. Her weapons were armed and targeted at critical systems. Around the Council fleet, 46 other ghost ships waited in the same quantum shadows. Their human crews patient and ready. Infiltration teams report complete success, added Dr. Jin-Ho Choi from the lunar facility. Every major council vessel has our people inside. Their quantum tunneling gear is working flawlessly. Lieutenant Boram John was currently standing in the alien flagship's main corridor, watching council officers walk past her without the slightest idea she existed. Her quantum marine suit kept her in a shifted state, invisible and intangible. To alien sensors and eyes, she could have reached out and touched them, but they would never know she was there. The aliens are increasing their patrol schedules, reported Major Kyung-Ho Bae from his infiltration position aboard a council destroyer. But they're only looking for conventional threats: ships, missiles, energy signatures. They're completely blind to quantum operations. That was the key to everything. The Council had advanced technology, powerful weapons, and thousands of years of military experience. But all of their knowledge was based on conventional physics. They understood matter and energy, space and time, but quantum mechanics remained a mystery to their alien minds. Humans, on the other hand, had grown up with quantum uncertainty. They lived in a universe where tiny particles could exist in multiple states at once, where observation changed reality, where cause and effect sometimes happened in the wrong order. To humans, quantum behavior was just another part of nature. To the aliens, it was invisible. "Sir," called Dr. Yejin Ro from her monitoring station, "I'm detecting increased energy buildup in the Council fleet. It looks like they're beginning to charge their main weapons." Admiral Kim checked the countdown timer. 41 hours remaining until the alien deadline. The Council was ahead of schedule, probably because they thought humanity was broken and helpless. "Let them charge their weapons," he said calmly. "The more energy they put into their systems, the bigger the bang when we turn those systems against them." Engineer Taemin Yang, currently phased through the walls of a Council battle cruiser, was placing the finishing touches on his sabotage work. The quantum disruption devices he had planted would do more than just disable alien systems. When activated, they would turn the aliens' own weapons into bombs that would tear their ships apart from the inside. "All sabotage packages in place," Taemin reported through his quantum communicator. "When you give the word, the Council fleet will experience catastrophic system failures on every ship simultaneously." "Excellent work," Admiral Kim replied. "Now comes the hardest part: waiting." The deception had to continue for several more hours. Humanity needed the aliens to feel completely secure, totally convinced that they faced a helpless enemy. Every broadcast had to show panic. Every official statement had to suggest surrender. Every visible action had to reinforce the idea that Earth was defenseless. On the surface, the theater continued. President Jong-Soo Park appeared on global television, his face grave and his words carefully chosen. "My fellow humans," he said, "we face a choice between extinction and slavery. Some of our allies are already discussing terms of surrender." Was all lies, of course. President Park was actually speaking from a quantum-shielded bunker where he was coordinating with Admiral Kim. The allies discussing surrender were actors in a studio, but the aliens intercepted every word and filed it away as confirmation of human weakness. Commander Yoonji Seo, hidden aboard her ghost ship near the edge of the Council formation, watched the alien patrol patterns through her quantum sensors. "They're getting sloppy," she reported. "Reduced alert status, minimal scanning protocols. They're acting like the battle is already over." That was exactly what Admiral Kim wanted to hear. Confident enemies made mistakes. Overconfident enemies made fatal mistakes. "Dr. Lim," Admiral Kim said, "begin final preparations on the Cascade. Weapons. I want them ready to deploy at a moment's notice." Woo-sung nodded and began the complex process of quantum aligning humanity's most devastating weapons. Each Cascade bomb existed in a state of potential energy that could reshape reality itself. When deployed, they would create chain reactions that the aliens couldn't stop because they couldn't see them coming. "Sir," Intelligence Director Soo-Jin Kang said quietly, "are you certain about this approach? Once we reveal our capabilities, there's no going back to the deception." Admiral Kim considered the question seriously. In a few hours, humanity would either achieve the most stunning military victory in galactic history, or they would be completely destroyed. There was no middle ground, no second chances. "The Council made one critical error," he said finally. "They assumed that a young species couldn't possibly understand something they had missed for millennia. They're about to learn that evolution doesn't always work the way they think it does." He looked around the command center at the faces of his officers and scientists. Each person here had spent 3 years preparing for this moment, developing technologies that pushed the boundaries of what was possible, creating strategies that depended on thinking in ways no alien species had ever imagined. Humanity didn't dominate Earth by being the strongest predator, Admiral Kim continued. "We did it by being the most adaptable, the most creative, the most willing to try impossible things. Today, we show the galaxy what that really means." The countdown continued, but now everyone understood what they were counting down to. Not surrender, not destruction, but the moment when humanity would stop hiding and show the universe what a species raised on quantum uncertainty could really accomplish. Above them, the alien fleet continued charging weapons that would never fire. Inside those ships, aliens made plans that would never work. And in the quantum shadows between realities, humanity prepared to change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. With 6 hours remaining until the alien deadline, the Council fleet hung in space like predators waiting to strike. Their massive ships hummed with energy as weapon systems charged to full power. War Master Kethvar stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching his tactical displays with satisfaction. "All vessels report weapons ready," announced his second-in-command, a spider-like creature called Sektar. "We can begin bombardment at any time." "Not yet," Kethvar rumbled. "Let them suffer a little longer. Fear makes the final moment more educational." Neither alien noticed the human figure standing just 3 meters away. Lieutenant Boram Jian remained in quantum phase, invisible and intangible, listening to every word they spoke. Her quantum suit recorded everything while she placed the final sabotage devices around the bridge. Admiral Kim sat in Earth's hidden command center, watching the countdown timer reach exactly 6 hours. Around him, his officers monitored displays showing the true situation. 47 ghost ships in perfect attack positions, infiltration teams aboard every major council vessel, and weapons that existed beyond alien understanding ready to deploy. "It's time," he said quietly. Dr. Jin-Ho Choi opened a quantum channel that reached every human facility in the solar system. "All units, this is Phoenix Control. Operation Ghost Storm is now active. Repeat, Ghost Storm is active." But before the attack began, Admiral Kim had one more thing to do. He opened a direct communication channel to the Council fleet, broadcasting on all frequencies. "Ambassador Veltar," Admiral Kim said, his voice calm and steady. "This is Admiral Hyunwoo Kim of Earth Defense Command." The alien's glowing eyes appeared on the main screen moments later. Behind him, the bridge of the Council flagship buzzed with activity as aliens prepared for bombardment. "Admiral Kim," Veltar said with cold amusement, "have you decided to surrender? Your time grows short." "Actually," Admiral Kim replied, "I wanted to address not just you, but all 2,847 species that make up your council. This message is for all of them." Veltar's expression shifted slightly. The human's tone was wrong somehow. There was no fear, no desperation, no pleading. Instead, Admiral Kim sounded almost cheerful. "The Galactic Council has ruled that humanity must choose between slavery and extinction," Admiral Kim continued, his words now being broadcast across the entire alien fleet. "You've given us 72 hours to decide our fate." War Master Kethvar stepped into view beside Veltar. "Your time is almost over, human. Speak quickly." Admiral Kim smiled that same small smile he had worn 3 days ago. "Humanity has reached a decision. We respectfully decline your generous offer of enslavement." The bridge of the Council flagship erupted in harsh alien laughter. Kethavar's forearms gestured dismissively. "Then you choose extinction. So be it." "Actually," Admiral Kim said, "we choose a third option." Before either alien could respond, Commander Hanul Shin triggered the first phase of humanity's response. From her hidden position aboard a ghost ship, she activated a series of quantum mines that had been floating invisibly throughout the Council formation. The aliens felt it before they saw it, a strange vibration that seemed to come from nowhere, a sense of wrongness that made their instruments flicker and their shields fluctuate. On the Council flagship's bridge, warning lights began flashing as sensors detected energy signatures that shouldn't exist. "What is happening?" Veltar demanded, turning to his tactical officers. "Unknown energy patterns, sir," Sektar replied, his voice filled with confusion. "The readings don't match any known technology." Captain Miran Song's voice reached Admiral Kim through the quantum communicator. "Ghost Leader to command, all mines active. Council fleet is showing system instabilities." "Confirmed," replied Dr. Yejin Ro from her monitoring station. "Quantum cascade reactions are beginning throughout their formation. Their ships are starting to phase in and out of normal space involuntarily." On the alien bridge, the confusion was growing into panic. Kethavar's officers reported that several ships in the fleet were simply vanishing from sensors for seconds at a time, then reappearing in slightly different positions. Their communication systems were experiencing strange delays, as if messages were taking detours through places that didn't exist. "This is impossible," Kethvar snarled. "No species has technology that can affect our fleet this way." Admiral Kim's image on their screen continued to smile. "War Master Kethavar, you've spent thousands of years fighting enemies who use the same physics you understand. Matter, energy, space, and time. You've become very good at that kind of warfare." The alien commander's claws extended in rage. "What? Are you saying, human?" "I'm saying you've never fought an enemy that learned to bend reality itself." At that moment, Lieutenant Boram Jian and her quantum marines began the second phase. All across the Council fleet, invisible human soldiers materialized inside alien ships. They appeared directly on bridges, in engine rooms, in weapon control centers. The alien security systems detected nothing until human marines were already moving through their most protected areas. "Impossible!" Veltar screamed as alarms began sounding throughout his ship. "Our sensors show no boarding craft, no breaches, no intruders." "That's because we didn't board your ships," Admiral Kim explained, calmly. "We've been inside them for hours. Your security systems can't detect threats that exist in quantum superposition." The reports flooding into the Council bridge painted a picture of complete chaos. Human soldiers were appearing everywhere, moving through walls, walking through energy barriers, attacking from directions that didn't make sense. Alien weapons passed harmlessly through the humans, who seemed to exist in multiple places at once. Major Kyung-ho Bae materialized on the bridge of a Council destroyer, his quantum rifle already firing. The alien crew couldn't understand how. Their enemy was standing in front of them when their sensors showed empty air. Their return fire passed through him like he was made of ghost light. "Sir," Sektar reported, his voice cracking with fear, "we're receiving similar reports from every ship in the fleet. The humans they're everywhere and nowhere. Our weapons can't touch them." Admiral Kim's expression became more serious. "Ambassador Veltar, you asked me earlier if any species had ever surprised you. The answer is yes. We have." Engineer Tai Min Yang activated the quantum disruption devices he had planted throughout the Council fleet. Suddenly, the aliens' most advanced systems began turning against them. Shield generators created feedback loops that tore holes in their own hulls. Weapon systems overloaded and exploded. Navigation computers began sending ships into impossible trajectories. "Our own technology is attacking us," Kethvar roared. "How is this possible?" "Because," Admiral Kim said, "you're fighting an enemy that understands something you don't. Quantum mechanics isn't just a curiosity to us. It's how we see the universe." Captain Zeo, Yoonji Seo and her ghost ship crew chose that moment to begin the third phase. All 47 invisible ships dropped out of quantum phase simultaneously, materializing throughout the Council formation. Suddenly, alien sensors detected dozens of human vessels where empty space had been just seconds before. But these weren't ordinary ships. Each ghost vessel existed in a state of quantum uncertainty, phasing in and out of normal space faster than alien targeting systems could track. When the Council fleet fired their weapons, the shots passed through quantum shadows. When the ghost ships fired back, their weapons materialized inside alien hulls and exploded from within. "This is not warfare," Veltar screamed. This is evolution," Admiral Kim said quietly. "Your species developed in universes where reality was predictable, where matter stayed matter and energy stayed energy, where things existed in one place at one time." Dr. Woo-Sung Lim's cascade weapons began their work, creating reality distortions that turned sections of the Council fleet into quantum uncertainty clouds. Ships that had existed for centuries simply stopped existing in any meaningful way, their matter scattered across multiple dimensional states. "Humanity evolved differently," Admiral Kim continued as chaos consumed the alien fleet around him. "We learned to live with uncertainty, to work with paradox, to find opportunity in impossible situations." The Council's mighty formation was dissolving into confusion and panic. Ships collided with vessels they couldn't see. Weapons fired at targets that weren't really there. Command structures broke down as officers received orders from commanders who were phasing in and out of existence. "You wanted to know if humanity would surrender or fight," Admiral Kim said, his voice carrying across the quantum communication channels to every ship in both fleets. "We choose neither. We choose to win." War Master Kethvar tried one last time to rally his forces. All ships, concentrate fire on the human homeworld. Destroy their planet. But when the Council fleet tried to fire on Earth, their targeting systems found nothing. The planet was still there, but it existed in a quantum state that their weapons couldn't lock onto. Dr. Yuna Kim's ultimate defense had activated, shifting Earth itself into superposition. You see, Admiral Kim said as the alien flagship's systems began failing around Veltar and Kethvar. The most dangerous thing about humans isn't our technology or our weapons. It's that we learn to smile in the face of impossible odds. The countdown had reached 0B. The Council fleet opened fire on Earth with enough energy to boil oceans and crack continents. Thousands of massive weapons discharged simultaneously, sending streams of destructive force toward humanity's homeworld. For a moment, space itself seemed to burn with the fury of an angry galaxy. Then something impossible happened. The bombardment passed harmlessly through empty space where Earth should have been. On the bridge of the Council flagship, Ambassador Veltar stared at his sensors in complete bewilderment. The planet. Where did it go? It's still there, Sektar replied, his voice filled with confusion. Our sensors detect its gravity, its magnetic field, its atmospheric signature, but our weapons can't target it. War Master Kethvar's 4 arms gestured wildly at the displays. That's impossible! Matter cannot simply stop existing! Admiral Kim's voice came through their communication system, still calm and steady despite the chaos erupting around both fleets. Earth hasn't stopped existing, War Master. It's simply existing in a way you can't perceive. At that moment, Captain Jaewon Park made his move. His ghost ship, invisible to all Council sensors, materialized directly inside the flagship's bridge. 1 second, the aliens were alone on their command deck, and the next second, a human spacecraft was floating in the air above their heads. The alien officers screamed and scattered as the impossible ship settled onto their bridge deck. Captain Park's voice echoed through their helmet communicators. Good afternoon, Ambassador. I thought we should meet face to face. Veltar's glowing eyes widened in terror as he stared at the ship that had appeared from nowhere. This violates every law of physics. Solid matter cannot occupy the same space. That's where you're wrong, Captain Park said as he stepped out of his ship onto the alien bridge. Solid matter can occupy the same space if it exists in quantum superposition. We've just been sharing this space with you in a different dimensional state. The revelation hit the aliens like a physical blow. Everything they thought they knew about reality, about physics, about the fundamental nature of the universe was crumbling around them. The humans weren't using advanced technology. They were using principles that the Council had never even discovered. Your species evolved in stable realities, Admiral Kim explained through the communication system. Universes where particles stayed in predictable states, where matter and energy followed rules you could understand. You never learned to perceive quantum uncertainty because your evolution never required it. Dr. Yuna Kim's research had proven this 3 years ago when humanity first encountered Council technology. Every alien species in the galaxy had developed along similar evolutionary paths. They had grown up in cosmic environments where quantum effects were minimal, where reality was consistent and predictable. But Earth was different. Humanity's homeworld existed in a region of space where quantum fluctuations were constant and strong. Humans had evolved not just to tolerate uncertainty, but to thrive in it. Their brains had developed the ability to process multiple potential realities simultaneously. We don't just use quantum mechanics, Captain Park continued, as more human Marines phased through the walls around the alien bridge. We think in quantum mechanics. Our consciousness exists in superposition states. To us, your impossible physics are just another tool. Major Kyung-ho Bae materialized beside several council officers who were trying to coordinate a defense. They spun around in panic as he appeared from nowhere, their weapons firing uselessly through his quantum-shifted form. Your species sees one reality at a time, Bae explained as he moved through their energy barriers like they were made of air. Humans see multiple realities simultaneously. We live in the spaces between your certainties. The truth was even more astounding than the aliens could imagine. Humanity hadn't just developed quantum technology, they had evolved quantum consciousness. Every human brain was naturally capable of processing information in superposition states, of perceiving multiple probable outcomes, of thinking in ways that existed beyond normal physics. Sir, Dr. Ye-Jin-ro reported from Earth's command center, quantum cascade effects are spreading throughout the Council fleet. Their ships are beginning to phase involuntarily between dimensional states. Admiral Kim watched his displays as the alien formation dissolved into chaos. Ships that had dominated space lanes for millennia were flickering in and out of existence, their crews unable to understand or control what was happening to them. The quantum mines we planted aren't just weapons, Admiral Kim explained to the terrified aliens. They're teaching tools. Your ships are being forced to experience reality the way humans do naturally, in multiple states at once. Commander Eun-ji Seo led her ghost ship squadron in a coordinated attack that defied everything. The aliens understood about combat. The human vessels appeared and disappeared at will, firing weapons that materialized inside enemy hulls, moving through solid barriers as if they were made of light. This is why we smiled when you threatened us, Admiral Kim said. Not because we weren't afraid, but because we knew you were fighting an enemy you couldn't even see. Lieutenant Bo-Ram John and her quantum marines had taken control of over a dozen council ships without firing a single shot that the aliens could detect. They simply walked through walls, appeared behind enemy positions, and disabled critical systems by existing in the same space as the machinery. Your security measures are impressive, Bo-Ram reported as she watched alien soldiers fire uselessly at targets that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. But they're designed to stop threats that follow your physics. Against quantum intrusion, your defenses are completely meaningless. The Council's mighty fleet was being torn apart by an enemy that seemed to exist everywhere and nowhere at once. Weapons that had destroyed countless civilizations couldn't hit targets that existed in superposition. Shields that had withstood stellar bombardments offered no protection against attacks that materialized within the defended spaces. You asked how many species have surprised the Council, Admiral Kim said to Ambassador Veltar, whose bridge was now occupied by humans who had appeared from impossible directions. The answer is 0, until today. Engineer Tae-Min Yang's sabotage work was reaching its climax. Throughout the Council fleet, alien technology was being turned against itself by quantum viruses that existed in the spaces between normal computer code. Systems that had operated flawlessly for centuries were suddenly experiencing cascade failures that spread faster than alien engineers could understand. Our greatest advantage, Admiral Kim continued, isn't our technology or our weapons. It's that we learn to find opportunity in uncertainty while you learn to fear it. War Master Kethvar made one last desperate attempt to understand what was happening to his fleet. "What are you?" he roared at Captain Park. "What kind of species are you?" Captain Park smiled the same quiet smile that Admiral Kim had shown 3 days ago. We're the species that learned to dance with quantum ghosts while you were still afraid of shadows. The revelation was complete now. The Council fleet, once the most feared military force in the galaxy, was helpless against an enemy that existed beyond their understanding of reality. Ships that had conquered thousands of worlds were being defeated by vessels that appeared and disappeared at will, crewed by beings who could walk through walls and think in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Humanity evolved in quantum uncertainty, Admiral Kim said as his forces completed their impossible victory. We grew up believing that particles could exist in multiple states, that reality itself was flexible, that the universe was far stranger and more wonderful than anyone imagined. Dr. Woo-Sung Lim's cascade weapons were creating reality distortions throughout the alien formation. Entire sections of the Council fleet were being shifted into quantum states where they continued to exist, but could no longer interact with normal. Space-time. You built an empire based on the belief that reality was predictable and controllable, Admiral Kim concluded. Today, you learned that the universe still has surprises for those who think they understand everything. The battle was over, though the aliens were only beginning to understand that they had lost. Their fleet still existed, but it existed in a state of quantum uncertainty that made it completely harmless. Their weapons still functioned, but they could only fire at targets in normal space, while their enemies danced between dimensions. Humanity had revealed itself not as another species to be conquered, but as something entirely new in galactic history. A civilization that had learned to bend reality itself to their will, not through technology alone, but through evolution itself. Earth's hidden fleet began materializing around the Council armada like ghosts becoming solid. One moment there was empty space, and the next moment dozens of human ships appeared from quantum shadows, their hulls gleaming with technologies that bent light around them. Captain Yoon-ji Seo stood on the bridge of the Soul's Pride, watching as her flagship emerged from superposition directly above the Council's command vessel. Her crew had spent 3 years training for this moment, learning to fight battles that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. All ghost ships, this is Pride, Leader, she announced through the quantum communication network. Execute Operation Phantom Storm. Show them what happens when humans stop hiding. The Soul's Pride fired its first quantum torpedo, and the result was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The weapon didn't travel through space. It simply appeared inside the target ship's hull and exploded from within. The Council destroyer vanished in a flash of light that seemed to fold in on itself. Impossible, War Master Kethavar whispered from his captured bridge. Energy cannot spontaneously manifest inside matter. Captain Jaewon Park, still standing on the alien flagship's bridge with his ship materialized around him, shook his head. You're still thinking in terms of normal physics. Our weapons don't travel from point A to point B. They exist at point B from the moment we fire them. Admiral Seong-min Choi commanded the second wave of ghost ships as they phased into reality throughout the Council formation. His vessel, the Quantum Dawn, appeared directly beneath a massive alien battle cruiser and fired upward through quantum-shifted space. The enemy ship's armor might as well have been made of paper. Ghost Squadron 7 to command, Admiral Choi reported. Target eliminated. Their shields didn't even register the attack. Dr. Hai-Wan Jung monitored the battle from Earth's command center, watching as quantum cascade effects spread through the alien fleet like a virus. Each ship that took quantum damage began destabilizing reality around it, creating expanding zones where normal physics stopped working properly. The cascade reactions are accelerating, she reported to Admiral Kim. Every Council ship we destroy is creating quantum instabilities that affect nearby vessels. Their own fleet formation is working against them. The aliens were experiencing something that had never happened in their thousands of years of conquest. Their advanced shields, designed to stop any known form of attack, were completely useless against weapons that bypassed normal space entirely. Their armor, forged from the strongest materials in the galaxy, offered no protection against explosions that originated inside their own hulls. All units, Admiral Kim broadcast to both fleets. The Council wanted to demonstrate their superior technology. I think it's time we showed them what human ingenuity can accomplish. Lieutenant Boram John led her quantum marines in an assault that redefined the meaning of impossible. Her team materialized inside a Council battleship's engine room, appearing from multiple directions simultaneously as their quantum suits allowed them to exist in several locations at once. The alien crew fired desperately at targets that seemed to multiply before their eyes. Each human marine existed in quantum superposition, making it appear as if dozens of attackers were present when only a few were actually there. The aliens' weapons fire passed through quantum shadows, while the marines' return shots materialized directly inside alien equipment. Engineering secured, Boram reported as the massive alien vessel began shutting down around her. Their fusion cores are now under our control. Major Kyung-ho Bae's team took a different approach, using quantum phase technology to turn the aliens' own weapons against them. By existing in the same space as the ship's targeting computers, Bae could rewrite firing solutions in real time, causing Council ships to accidentally destroy each other. "This is not warfare," Ambassador Veltar said, his voice filled with horror, as he watched his mighty fleet tear itself apart. This is evolution in action," Admiral Kim replied calmly. "You conquered species that fought like you do, with matter and energy, force and resistance. You never encountered a species that learned to fight with reality itself." Captain Mi-Ran Song's Ghost Ship Squadron demonstrated the true scope of humanity's quantum mastery. Her vessels moved through the Council formation like sharks through water, appearing wherever they wanted to be, firing from impossible angles, vanishing before return fire could even be aimed. "Ghost Leader to all ships," Mi-Ran announced. "Target the command vessels first. Let's give the Council leadership a close look at human capabilities." The Ghost Wind under her command materialized inside a Council carrier's hangar bay and began firing quantum torpedoes at the alien fighter craft. Each explosion created reality distortions that spread through the ship's structure, causing sections of the vessel to phase in and out of normal space randomly. Dr. Woo-Sung Lim activated the next phase of humanity's assault, his quantum cascade. Bombs, planted throughout the Council formation during the 3-day preparation period, began creating chain reactions that turned the aliens' own energy against them. "Cascade bombs are active," he reported. "Each detonation is creating expanding fields of quantum uncertainty. The Council ships are being forced into superposition states whether they want to be or not." The result was chaos beyond anything the aliens had ever experienced. Ships that had existed in normal space for thousands of years suddenly found themselves flickering between dimensions. Crews that had operated advanced technology with perfect precision discovered that their instruments now showed multiple contradictory readings simultaneously. "Our ships are existing in multiple places at once," Sektar reported from the flagship bridge, his voice filled with panic. "Our crew members are seeing themselves in different locations. Reality itself is breaking. Down. Reality isn't breaking down, Captain Park explained patiently. You're just experiencing it the way humans do naturally. Welcome to quantum consciousness. Engineer Taimin Yang's sabotage work reached its climax as alien technology throughout. The fleet began operating according to quantum principles instead of normal physics. Computers that had processed information linearly for millennia suddenly started calculating multiple possibilities simultaneously, overloading their circuits with paradoxical results. Their entire technological base is built on the assumption that reality is predictable, Admiral Kim observed as he watched the Council fleet dissolve into quantum chaos. When that assumption fails, everything fails. Commander Hanul Shin's ship, the Probability Storm, emerged from quantum phase directly in front of the Council's largest dreadnought. Instead of firing conventional weapons, she activated a reality distortion field that caused the enemy vessel to exist in 17 different quantum states simultaneously. Target is experiencing dimensional fragmentation, she reported. They're trying to be in 17 different places at once. Their crew can't figure out which version of their ship is real. The truth was that all 17 versions were equally real, each existing in a different quantum state. The alien crew was experiencing what humans called quantum vertigo, the disorientation that came from consciousness trying to process multiple contradictory realities at the same time. Reports are coming in from across the galaxy, Intelligence Director Sujin Kang announced from the command center. Every Council fleet is under simultaneous attack. Our quantum network has activated assets we've been placing for 3 years. The scope of humanity's preparation was finally becoming clear. While the Council had been focused on Earth, human agents using quantum phase technology had infiltrated every major alien installation in the galaxy. Ships, star bases, industrial facilities, even the Council's home worlds, all had been compromised by enemies the aliens couldn't detect. You see, Admiral Kim said to the terrified alien leadership, when you told us we had 72 hours to surrender, you made a critical error. You assumed that was when our response would begin. Dr. Yuna Kim's monitoring systems showed quantum signatures activating across hundreds of star systems. Human ghost ships were materializing around Council installations everywhere, all striking simultaneously in perfect coordination. Our response began 3 years ago, Admiral Kim continued. The moment your Council made first contact with us, we knew this day would come. We've spent that entire time preparing for it. The Council fleet that had come to destroy humanity was now trapped in a quantum maze of their own making, their ships existing in multiple states, while their crews struggled to understand a reality that humans navigated naturally. Around the galaxy, every symbol of Council power was under attack, by enemies that could appear from nowhere and disappear at will. War Master Kethvar made one final attempt to rally his forces. All ships, full retreat, escape to hyperspace. But when the Council ships tried to activate their faster-than-light drives, they discovered that quantum uncertainty had infected even their escape routes. Ships that tried to jump to hyperspace found themselves scattered across multiple dimensions, existing partially in normal space and partially in quantum limbo. Even your escape technology assumes reality behaves predictably, Admiral Kim observed. In quantum space, there is no escape, only transformation. The mightiest fleet in galactic history had been reduced to the once mighty Council fleet drifted helplessly in space, their ships flickering between quantum states like dying stars. What had been the galaxy's most feared armada was now a collection of vessels that couldn't determine their own reality, crewed by aliens who could no longer trust their own senses. Ambassador Veltar sat in what remained of his command chair, his glowing eyes dim with shock and defeat. Around him, the flagship's bridge systems sparked and failed as quantum uncertainty infected every circuit. His officers moved like sleepwalkers, struggling to process a reality that changed every time they looked at it. "Admiral Kim," Veltar said, his voice barely above a whisper. We beg for negotiation." The human admiral's image appeared on the flickering main screen, still calm and composed despite having just orchestrated the most impossible victory in galactic history. Behind him, Earth's command center hummed with activity as reports flowed in from across the galaxy. "Negotiation," Admiral Kim repeated thoughtfully. 3 days ago you offered us slavery or extinction. You said the Council's patience was not infinite. You told us that species before us had begged at the end. Captain Min-Seo Lee stood on the bridge of her ship, the Quantum Justice, which was currently materialized inside the Council flagship's main hangar. Through her quantum sensors, she could see the alien ambassador's growing desperation as reality continued to shift around him. "Please," Veltar pleaded, "my species, all our species, we didn't understand. We couldn't have known that you possessed such impossible abilities." "Impossible?" Admiral Kim's expression showed a hint of amusement. "Ambassador, nothing we've done today is impossible. Unlikely, perhaps. Unexpected, certainly. But not impossible." War Master Kethvar, his 4 arms hanging limply at his sides, struggled to speak through his confusion. "What do you want from us? What are your terms?" Admiral Kim was quiet for a moment, and when he spoke, his words were broadcast not just to the disabled Council fleet, but across the entire galaxy. Every alien, world, every space station, every ship that could receive communication heard what humanity's leader had to say. "The Galactic Council is hereby dissolved," Admiral Kim announced. "Its authority is revoked, its fleets are neutralized, and its reign of conquest is ended." Gasps and cries of disbelief echoed across thousands of alien bridges and command centers. The Council had ruled the galaxy for over 10,000 years. The idea that it could simply be dissolved by a species they had never heard of 3 days ago was beyond comprehension. "In its place," Admiral Kim continued, "humanity offers membership in the Terran Federation to any species willing to coexist peacefully. We invite cooperation instead of conquest, trade instead of tribute, friendship instead of fear." Director Jong-Soo Park, Earth's Minister of Galactic Affairs, stepped into view beside Admiral Kim. He had spent 3 years preparing for this moment, developing the frameworks and policies that would govern humanity's new role in galactic civilization. Terms are simple," Director Park explained. "Species that choose peace will find humanity to be generous allies. We will share our technology, our knowledge, and our protection. Those who prefer the old ways of conquest and domination are free to leave this galaxy and find somewhere else to practice their beliefs." Lieutenant Bo-Ram Jeon's voice crackled through the quantum communication network from her position aboard a captured Council destroyer. "Sir, we're receiving surrender requests from over 400 ships across the galaxy. The word is spreading fast." The scope of humanity's operation was becoming clear to the stunned aliens. This hadn't been a single battle, but a coordinated assault on every Council installation simultaneously. Human ghost ships had appeared around alien worlds, space stations, and fleets throughout the galaxy, all striking at the same moment. "How?" Ambassador Veltar asked, his voice filled with awe and terror. How did you coordinate attacks across such distances? How did you infiltrate every one of our installations? Captain J-Wan Park, still standing on the alien flagship's bridge, smiled. Quantum entanglement doesn't care about distance, Ambassador. When you exist in superposition, space and time become flexible concepts. The truth was even more astounding than the aliens could imagine. Humanity's quantum consciousness allowed them to operate networks that existed outside normal space-time. Human agents could communicate instantaneously across galactic distances, coordinate actions that happened simultaneously in multiple star systems, and share information through connections that transcended physical reality. For 3 years, Admiral Kim explained, humanity has been building a quantum network throughout the galaxy. Our people have been living among you, working with you, learning from you. You never detected them because they existed in quantum, states that your sensors couldn't perceive. Engineer Taemin Yang's work on Veltar's flagship was just one example of a massive infiltration effort. Human engineers, scientists, and diplomats had been operating inside Council facilities for years, always invisible, always undetected, always preparing for this moment. We didn't want this war, Admiral Kim said, his voice filled with genuine sadness. We hoped that first contact would lead to peaceful cooperation. But when the Council chose conquest over communication, we had to be ready. Dr. Hai Wanjung's analysis showed the full extent of the Council's collapse. Reports are coming in from 1,500 star systems, she announced. Council authority is breaking down everywhere. Species are declaring independence, alien fleets are surrendering, and local governments are requesting Federation membership. The galaxy was transforming before their eyes. Species that had been forced into Council membership for thousands of years were suddenly free to choose their own paths. Some chose to join humanity's new Federation immediately. Others decided to remain neutral. A few chose to retreat to the galaxy's edge rather than accept human leadership. What about the species that refuse your offer? War Master Kethvar asked. What happens to those who will not submit to human authority? They're free to leave, Admiral Kim replied simply. The galaxy is a big place. There's room for everyone, but not for everyone's ambitions. Species that insist on conquest and domination will find somewhere else to practice those beliefs. Captain Yoonji Seo's voice came through the communication network from her flagship. Sir, long-range sensors show approximately 300 Council species retreating toward the galactic edge. They're taking their fleets and abandoning their territories. Let them go, Admiral Kim said. Perhaps distance will teach them wisdom. Colonel Sang-Woo Yoon, commander of humanity's quantum reconnaissance forces, had a different perspective. Sir, my teams are monitoring their retreat. They're trying to regroup beyond our sensor range. Some of them are talking about returning, with new strategies. They're welcome to try, Admiral Kim replied calmly. But they'll find that quantum consciousness isn't something you can strategize against. It's something you either understand or you don't. The defeated Ambassador Veltar struggled to comprehend the new reality. You're offering us membership in your Federation after we threatened to destroy your species? Director Park stepped forward. Ambassador, humanity learned long ago that the best way to defeat an enemy is to turn them into a friend. We're offering you a chance to be part of something better than conquest. What would membership mean? Veltar asked. It means your species keeps their independence, their culture, their worlds, Director Park explained. But you also gain access to human technology, protection from external threats, and participation in a galactic community based on cooperation instead of fear. Dr. Yuna Kim's quantum monitoring systems showed the continuing cascade effects throughout the galaxy. Sir, the reality distortions are stabilizing in most systems. Species that accept Federation membership are finding their quantum signature shifting to match our network. They're becoming part of our consciousness web. It was the most profound transformation in galactic history. Humanity wasn't just offering political alliance. They were offering evolution itself. Species that joined the Federation would gradually develop the ability to perceive quantum reality, to think in superposition states, to exist beyond the limitations of normal physics. You're changing us, Veltar realized, his eyes growing wide with understanding. You're making us more like you. We're helping you become more than you were, Admiral Kim corrected. Consciousness is meant to grow, to expand, to discover new ways of existing. The Council tried to freeze evolution at a single point. We're offering you the chance to continue growing. Captain Miran Song's Ghost Fleet began the process of escorting surrendered Council vessels to Federation processing centers. Ships that had once terrorized the galaxy were now being guided by invisible shepherds, their crews learning to navigate a reality they had never imagined possible. Admiral Kim, Ambassador Veltar said, his voice gaining strength for the first time since the battle began. On behalf of my species and the others willing to change, I formally request membership in the Terran Federation. Welcome, Admiral Kim replied with a genuine smile. Welcome to the future. The old galaxy was ending and a new one was being born, not through conquest or destruction, but through the most powerful force in the universe, the willingness to grow beyond what... 6 months after the day that changed galactic history, Ambassador Na-Young Kim stood in the observation deck of New Geneva Station, watching ships from 1,200 different species dock at the massive orbital facility. The station existed in a quantum superposition that allowed it to service vessels operating in normal space and quantum phase simultaneously. Na-Young was Admiral Kim's daughter, but she had earned her position through her own abilities in quantum diplomacy. She could perceive the emotional and mental states of multiple alien species at once, understanding their needs and fears in ways that traditional diplomacy had never achieved. "Ma'am," said her aide, Secretary Jae-Hyun Cho, "the Veltarian delegation is requesting a private meeting. They're still having trouble adapting to quantum consciousness." Na-Young nodded. The transition wasn't easy for species that had spent millennia thinking in purely linear terms. Some aliens adapted quickly to their new quantum awareness, while others struggled with the disorientation that came from perceiving multiple realities simultaneously. "Schedule them for this afternoon," she said. "And make sure Dr. Huan is available to help with the consciousness integration process." Dr. Minho. Huan was one of humanity's leading experts in quantum psychology. He had developed techniques to help alien minds gradually adjust to quantum perception, without the overwhelming confusion that could result from sudden exposure to multiple realities. Through the station's quantum communication network, Na-Young received updates from across the galaxy. The Terran Federation now encompassed 1,247 former Council species, with more joining every week. Each new member brought their own challenges and opportunities. "Ambassador," Secretary Cho continued, "we're also receiving reports from the frontier monitoring stations. Colonel Yoon's reconnaissance teams have detected increased activity at the Galactic Edge. Colonel Sang-Woo Yoon commanded the Federation's quantum surveillance network, keeping watch on the species that had chosen exile rather than membership. His invisible scouts could observe activities in distant star systems without being detected, providing early warning of any potential threats." What kind of activity? Ne Young asked. Construction projects, mostly. The exile species appear to be building some kind of massive installations. Our quantum sensors can't penetrate whatever shielding they're using. Ne Young wasn't surprised. The species that had refused Federation membership were the most militaristic and conquest-oriented cultures from the old council. They wouldn't simply accept defeat and disappear quietly. Have Colonel Yoon increase surveillance and prepare contingency plans, she said. But don't take any aggressive action. They're entitled to their exile as long as they stay there. On Earth, Admiral Hyunwoo Kim sat in his garden behind his home in Seoul, tending to flowers that existed in quantum superposition. The roses shifted between different colors and states, their beauty enhanced by the uncertainty that made each bloom unique and unpredictable. His granddaughter Sola played nearby, chasing butterflies that phased in and out of visibility. She was part of the first generation of humans born after the Federation's creation, and her quantum consciousness was more advanced than any adult's. To her, reality was naturally fluid and wonderful. Grandfather, Sola said, materializing beside him from whatever quantum state she had been exploring. Why do the sad aliens from far away want to fight us again? Admiral Kim smiled. His granddaughter's quantum awareness allowed her to perceive things across vast distances, sometimes picking up emotional signatures from species at the galactic edge. Some beings find it hard to change, he explained gently. They're used to taking what they want instead of asking for it. They think strength means making others afraid. But we're not afraid, Sola said matter-of-factly. We just smile. Admiral Kim's smile widened. Yes, we do. And that's our greatest strength. Dr. Ji-Un Han worked in her laboratory on Luna, developing the next generation of quantum consciousness technologies. Her research promised to unlock even more profound levels of reality manipulation, allowing Federation species to exist in states that bordered on what ancient humans might have called magic. Admiral, she reported through the quantum network, the Consciousness Expansion Project is showing remarkable results. Species that fully integrate with our quantum web are developing abilities we never imagined possible. Some Federation members were learning to exist in multiple locations simultaneously. Others could manipulate matter at the quantum level with nothing but focused thought. A few had begun exploring dimensions that existed beyond normal space-time. Entirely. Any concerning developments? Admiral Kim asked. None so far. The integration process seems to naturally prevent dangerous applications. Species that join the Federation develop wisdom along with power. It's as if quantum consciousness itself has built-in ethical safeguards. On the frontier, Commander Kyung-soo led a patrol of ghost ships through the outer systems, monitoring the border between Federation space and the exile territories. His vessels existed in quantum phase, invisible to the exile species, but ready to respond if they attempted any aggressive actions. Command, this is Frontier Patrol 7, he reported. We're detecting massive energy signatures from the exile construction sites. Whatever they're building, it's big enough to be seen from 3-star systems away. Continue monitoring, came the reply from Federation Command. Do not engage unless they cross into our space. The exile species were building something, but the Federation's policy was clear. Every species had the right to choose their own path, even if that path led away from cooperation and growth. Humanity would watch and prepare, but they would not attack first. In the Andromeda Research Station, Dr. Subin Park studied the long-term implications of quantum consciousness evolution. Her models suggested that the Federation was becoming something unprecedented in galactic history, a civilization that existed partially outside normal reality. The quantum integration is accelerating, she reported. Within a few generations, Federation species may develop the ability to exist entirely in superposition states. We could become beings of pure possibility. Ambassador Na Young Kim received a priority communication while reviewing integration reports. The image of her father appeared on her screen, his expression serious but not alarmed. "Na Young," Admiral Kim said, "Colonel Yoon's reconnaissance teams have detected movement from the exile territories. 3 large fleets are heading toward our border." "How large?" she asked. "Approximately 15,000 ships. They're using technology we haven't seen before, possibly developments from their construction projects." Na-young felt no fear, only a sense of sad inevitability. The exile species had chosen their path, and now they were following it to its logical conclusion. "What are your orders, Father?" Admiral Kim was quiet for a moment, sitting in his garden with Sola playing nearby. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of experience and the calm certainty that had defined humanity's approach to galactic affairs. "We offered them membership. We offered them peace. We offered them growth and friendship and a chance to be part of something wonderful," he said. "They chose war instead." He looked at his granddaughter, who was teaching quantum butterflies to dance in impossible patterns, her laughter bright with joy and innocence. "The Federation will defend itself," Admiral Kim continued. "But we will not let their choice for violence corrupt what we've built. We remain who we are, a species that finds hope in impossible circumstances." Dr. Yuna Kim's monitoring systems detected the approaching exile fleets, but also something else. The quantum network that connected all Federation members was responding to the threat automatically. Across 1,200 worlds, species that had once been enemies were now preparing to defend each other. "Sir," Dr. Yuna Kim reported, "the quantum consciousness network is activating defensive protocols automatically. Federation species are coordinating their response without any central command structure. It was perhaps the most remarkable development yet. The shared quantum consciousness that connected Federation members had evolved beyond simple communication. It was becoming a collective intelligence that could respond to threats faster than any traditional military command structure." "Fascinating," Admiral Kim mused. "Consciousness defending itself." Ambassador Na-young Kim watched from New Geneva Station as Federation fleets began assembling. But these weren't the desperate preparations of 3 years ago. Ships materialized from quantum space with casual efficiency, their crews calm and confident. Veterans of impossible victories prepared to face old enemies who had learned nothing from their previous defeat. "Ma'am," Secretary Cho reported, "the exile fleets are transmitting a message. It's addressed to you personally." The main screen flickered, showing the bridge of a massive alien warship. War Master Kethvar appeared, his forearms spread wide in a gesture of challenge. Behind him stood representatives of the 300, species that had chosen exile over cooperation. "Ambassador Kim," Kethvar snarled, "we return with new purpose. We have spent these months studying your quantum tricks, developing countermeasures, building weapons that can hurt even your ghost ships." Na-young listened patiently, her quantum consciousness already perceiving the fear and desperation that drove the exile fleets.